Hello and welcome back to Yoga with Brittany. Happy 2024. This is my first yoga video of the year. The weather is nice today. It's February, which is why we don't have much greenery around, but the weather's nice, so let's get to it. Before we get started, let's take some deep breaths. So I want you to settle into your seat, maybe move the flesh back from behind your hips a little bit. Sit up nice and tall. Imagine there's a string pulling your head up, stretching your spine out. And when you're ready, I want you to exhale all of the stale air, just fully empty. And then inhale all the way up to the top. And exhale, let it all go. Let's take two more just like that. Inhale through your nose all the way up to the top. Take another sip. Exhale. Let it out through your mouth. One more time. All right. Let's begin in tabletop position. Bring your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Take an inhale in your flat back position. And as you exhale, round your spine, tuck your tailbone, lift your spine up, 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 bow your head. As you inhale, drop your belly, lift your head and hips. My dog Maisie is with us here today. You can't see her right now, but she is who's barking. So I want you to exhale as you round and inhale as you lift. Exhale. Really try and tuck your tailbone. And inhale. And then move your hips from side to side. We're just warming up the spine here. If it feels good for you, you might want to rotate your wrists 180 degrees or maybe just 90 degrees if that feels too much of a press for you. And then take an inhale here. And again, exhale, round your spine for cat pose. Trying not to eat my mic and be really loud here. And inhale for another cow. And come back to your neutral spine. Inhale, lift your right leg back behind you, point your toe, try and keep your heel in line with your hip. Now notice you might need to tighten in your core here if you haven't already. You should have a strong, steady core. Take one more breath. As you exhale, again round. This time bring your knee to your nose. And then inhale. And let's do that one more time. Inhale. And bring it back down. If your wrists do not feel comfortable, please go ahead and change their position. Make sure that your fingers are separated evenly and that you're gripping the floor with your fingerprints and the base of your palm wherever you are. Second side, inhale, left leg back behind you. You can point your toe. Try and keep your hips level here. And again, engage your core. On your next exhale, round your spine, bring your knee to your nose. Inhale. And exhale. Send it back. And then bring it back down. If you haven't already, go ahead and rotate your wrists forward again. And we're going to do some twisted puppy poses. As you inhale, lift your left arm up. Stretch it up, twist in your torso. Exhale, bring it down, thread it through. Place your head, shoulder on the mat. With your right hand, you can walk it forward. Or maybe you wrap it around for a bind. Continue your steady breath. Send those hips up to the sky. And as you exhale, bring your right hand down, press yourself up, and then counter stretch. Stretch back up with your left and bring it back down. Second side, inhale, right arm up. Really reach. And exhale, bring it down, thread it through. Placing your head and your shoulder on the mat, and then decide if you want to send that left arm forward, or maybe you want to wrap it around for a bind. One more breath. And exhale, bring that left hand down. And again, reach that right arm up. And bring it back down. All right. Now back in your neutral spine, I want you to curl your toes underneath you. Press the floor away from you. And just lift your knees an inch or two off the ground. My cat Stella is walking towards us, so you may see her on screen. And just engage your core. Press your heels back behind you. Really stretch out the line of those feet. And then on your next inhale, hello Stella. Send your hips up and back. Come into your downward facing dog. Now for me, this downward dog is very short. Now my heels are almost touching, they're touching the mat. They're not really pressing into the ground. So you might enjoy this, but I like my downward dogs a little bit longer. So I'm going to walk my hands forward a handprint, again, pressing down on the fingerprints and the base of my palm. Send my hips back, send my chin closer to my chest, and bow my head between my arms. From here, you might want to take your dog for a walk. Bend one knee and then the other. Move your hips from side to side. Keep your breath steady. I like to do little circles with my knees to warm up my down dog. All right, take a breath here in your still downward facing dog. Do it again. This time when you inhale, lift up onto your toes. And exhale, bring you back down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Now rock your body forward in a plank pose. And this is where if you did not make your down dog stance longer before, you may need to adjust so that your wrists are underneath your shoulders and your hands are shoulder width apart. Take your inner elbows and rotate them outward so that they're in line with your index fingers. And breathe here in your plank pose. Stay high on your toes. Engage your core again. Squeeze your glutes. And for a little extra core work, you can hold plank if you want. You can also take plank on your knees if that's where you are. That's totally fine. If you want more of a core workout, bring your right knee to your right elbow and then place it back down. Left knee to left elbow and back down. Breathe. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Nice. Now bend your knees and send your hips back up, back to your downward facing dog. Take a deep cleansing breath. Rise high to your toes as you inhale. And as you exhale, take tiny steps forward to the top of your mat. And then I want you to bend your knees. You can grab opposite elbows, let your head hang heavy. Maybe sway from side to side if that feels good. Maybe switch elbows. And then you can straighten your legs, grab an interlace behind your back, and extend your arms up overhead. Try and press your palms together. As you exhale, release the clasp of your palms. Inhale, lift halfway. Flat back position. Exhale, slide back down. Inhale, bend your knees, bring your arms with you, lift all the way up. I'm going to come back to center. Interlace your palms, point your pointer fingers straight up and stretch straight up as high as you can. Pull your ribs back. And as you exhale, side bend to one side. Try and press down evenly in both feet. This might require some thinking action. Come back to center. Press up again and exhale, opposite side. Come back up. Exhale, bring your arms down by your sides. All right, step to the back of your mat again. We're going to come back down to our knees, back to our tabletop. Make sure those fingerprints are separated evenly. You want your index fingers pointing straight ahead. And then curl your toes under. Send your hips up and back to your downward facing dog. Remember, you can walk your hands forward if you need a longer stance. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Inhale, rise high to your toes. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, slide back down. Inhale, bend your knees, bring yourself all the way up, reach your fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, fall back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, and you can walk back or you can jump back. If you jump back, make sure there's a little bit of a bend in your elbows. All right, let's do it again. Inhale, bend, lift. Inhale, lift your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, step or hop. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend your knees, bring your arms all the way up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop back. Chaturanga. So that means, I'm going to break that down. So from your downward facing dog, you rock forward in a plank pose. Chaturanga is bending your elbows back so that there's a 90-degree bend and you're pushing yourself forward with your toes. And then as you inhale, you're going to flip onto the tops of your feet, lift your torso, shoulders above wrists. This is upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Curl back onto the bottoms of your feet, hips back up to the sky. All right, inhale, lift. Exhale, step or hop. Inhale, lift. Exhale, slide down. Inhale, bend your knees. Maybe you want to add a little bit of a back bend here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step, hop, find your way safely back to plank pose. And just breathe here for a second. Pull your belly button towards your spine. Take your toes, push yourself 2 inches forward, bend your elbows, chaturanga, and then flip up for your upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Next inhale, send your right leg up and back for three-legged dog. Now try to see if you can square your hips here rather than stacking them like this. If you can keep them level, your toes should be pointing down. Take a breath. And as you exhale, bring your knee forward, bring it to your nose, bow your head. Inhale, back up. And then exhale, step forward. Lower your back knee down, top of foot to the floor. Inhale, lift your torso, lift your arms. Press your hips forward. Exhale, come back down. Curl your toes under, back into your front runner's lunge. Take a breath here. And then exhale, step back. Downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Inhale, left leg up and back. Again, you want your toes pointing down, your hips level. Grip the floor with your fingerprints on the base of your palm. As you exhale, bring your knee to your nose. As you inhale, lift it back up. Exhale, come through again. Plant your foot. Lower your right knee this time. Inhale. Lift your torso, lift your arms, press those hips forward. We're really opening up in our hips here. Exhale, rain it down, curl your toes under, lift your back leg, and just feel into your runner's lunge here. All right, now step it back to downward facing dog again. And again, we're going to inhale, lift our right leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, back. Exhale, step it through. Runner's lunge. This time we're going to spin our back heel down, back arch in line with front heel, and then cartwheel your left arm followed by your right arm up. You want your knee on top of your ankle, arms out, shoulders open, chest open, heart open. Turn your gaze over your right fingertips. Warrior two. And as you exhale, bring your left hand to your left leg, right arm up and back for reverse warrior. And then come forward. Lift your back heel. Step back to downward facing dog. Second side, inhale, lift, left leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale. Exhale, step forward. I'm going to come to this side so I can still face you when I do warrior two. So turning your back foot down, back arch in line with front heel. Cartwheel your right arm up this time. Extend both arms out in opposite directions, like you're just shooting energy out through your fingertips. Try and open that left knee out a tiny bit. Breathe. Make sure your knee is on top of your ankle. Keep your chest lifted, but keep your shoulders pushed down onto your back. As you exhale, right arm down, left arm up and back. Reach back behind you. And bring it down. Lift your back heel. Step back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Now, bring your knees to the mat. Bring your toes together. We're going to do a child's pose. You can bring your knees as wide as your mat, or if your hips feel tight, bring your knees together. Extend your arms out in front of you, bow your head, and take a rest. Really try and press your heels gently. Press your hips gently onto your heels. And then walk your hands back to lift yourself up. Bring your knees together, and then come on up to standing. Bring your legs pretty far apart into a wide-legged stance. So toes in a straight line, heels in a straight line, and then see if you can get your heels in line with your pinky toes. So just push them out a tiny bit. Engage your quads to lift your kneecaps, and then send your hips back as you fold forward. And if you need to bend your knees to access the floor, please do. Or you can place a block here to keep your legs straight and bring the floor closer to you. Either way, take a breath here. As you exhale, maybe bend your head down. Bend your elbows if you're able to do so. If not, just let your head hang. Press down on the outer edges, the blade side edge of both feet to really deepen that stretch. Press yourself back up. Place your left hand underneath your chest and inhale, lift your right arm up. See if you can stack your shoulders. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, left arm up. And bring it back down. All right, now bend your knees, place your hands on your thighs, lift on up, and then rotate your heels in, toes pointed out. If you want to make your stance a little shorter, please feel free. We're going to bend our knees, come into a squatting position, place our hands in prayer position for goddess pose. Now, you can do a few things in this pose. If you want to be still, be still. If you want to bounce a little, go ahead and bounce. Another thing you can do is you can lift one heel and then the other. You can try and lift both heels. If you lose your balance, that's totally fine. Just come back to it. You can sway side to side. Really just breathe into whatever movement you decide to do. Take one more breath wherever you are. And as you inhale, come all the way up for star pose. Reach your fingertips all the way up as high as you can. Exhale, bring them down. Heel toe your feet together. And let's take a tree pose. Place your weight onto your left foot. Right heel can be a kickstand on your ankle or calf, or inner thigh. Don't place your foot on your knee. Lift your arms up if you wish. Bring your palms together if you want. Keep them separate. This will give more space to your shoulders. So I like keeping mine separate. And as you think about opening this right hip out to the right, I want you to press your foot into your leg and press your leg back into your foot. Take one more breath here. Exhale, bring it down. Second side. So if you're feeling wobbly with balance, I recommend placing your heel on your ankle and just focusing on opening that knee out to the side. You still get the same action regardless of where your foot is on your leg. So don't judge yourself. And if you're swaying, that's okay too. Think about opening that left knee out to the left. Focus on your breath here in the present moment. It's what yoga is really good for. Exhale, bring it on down. All right, let's come all the way down to the mat in a seated position. Send your legs out in front of you, and again, tilt your pelvis bone forward so that you can pull that flesh back from behind your hips. Flex your feet. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Exhale, rain them down. Now, notice that I'm trying to hinge in my hips. So rather than making my spine round, I won't be able to do as much. But if I keep my spine straight, hinge at my hips, then I can go a little farther. And if you're not there yet, that is totally fine. Just think about lifting up, and then maybe you just lean a little bit forward. Eventually you will get a little farther down. Now lift on back up and take your right leg, place your right foot outside of your left leg, hook your left arm around your right knee, take your right arm back behind you, and you're going to twist here in your torso. Look over your back shoulder, and you can stay here looking over your back shoulder, or keeping your body exactly as it is, rotate your head only and look over your front shoulder. All right, rotate your torso back to center. Send that leg out. Pick up your opposite leg, place it outside of your right thigh. Hook your right arm around your left knee. Take your left arm, swing it back behind you, and twist in your torso as you look over your left shoulder. Feel free to stay here, or feel free to turn your head only and look over your right shoulder. Rotate your torso forward again. Scoot your hips forward. Lie back. We're going to take a bridge pose. So bring your heels in front of your hips. Sorry about the bad lighting. All right. And then walk your shoulders one at a time underneath you so your chest is a little lifted, your shoulders and heart are open. And then you can take your palms, you can press down on the floor, or you can lift your hips a little, interlace your fingers, press your arms and your palms into the mat, and then lift your hips a little bit more. Squeeze your glutes to press your tailbone straight up. Press your feet firmly into the earth. Don't forget your breath. As you exhale, if your hands are clasped, release them and bring your hips on back down. Now, take your knees and windshield wiper them side to side. Open up in those hips. Send your left leg long. Bend your right knee. Interlace your fingers and pull your right knee towards your chest. Take a deep breath here as you press down into your left heel. Now take your left hand and pull your right knee across your torso for a twist. Send your right arm and your gaze to the right. Use your left hand to gently press down on that knee if you need extra support in your stretch. Bring your knee back to center. Extend that leg out. And then bend your left knee, interlace your fingers in front of that shin or knee. Press down on your right heel. Breathe here. As you exhale, bring your right hand to the outer edge of your left knee, pull it over to the right, send your left arm and your gaze to the left. Notice if your shoulder wants to lift off the mat. Most likely it does, so just think about gently pressing it a little further into the mat. Even if nothing happens, it will happen over time. Last breath here. And then bring your knee back to center. Extend both legs out in front of you and lift your arms up over your head. Take a full body stretch. As you inhale, feel your rib cage lift off the mat. Point your toes, extend your fingertips long. Exhale. Lift your arms, lift your knees, bring both knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug. Maybe rock from side to side if it feels good. And release. From here, pause the video. Take as long of a Shavasana as you need. And I hope that this practice served you. It was short, simple, sweet, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for practicing with me.